The Roman Empire spanned across much of Western, Central and Southern Europe, and it was aware of and traded goods with places as far as China. However, one place whose relationship with Rome isn't well known is Scandinavia. So what relationship did they have? Did Rome know about Scandinavia, the Vikings who lived there, and what did they both think of each other? So to begin, Vikings weren't actually around during the height of the Roman Empire. More on them later though. So did Rome know anything about any parts of Scandinavia? Yes, a bit. Now, Rome wasn't exactly famed for being contented, and it wasn't long until Emperor Augustus tried to expand his empire's borders towards what's now Denmark. In 5 AD, the Roman navy began sailing up the coast to try and make allies for the inevitable push. However, reliable friends take a long time to make, and Rome never managed to expand to the north. The reason for this was that Augustus misplaced some of his legions at the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, and so there were none left to expand in the north. As such, the Romans retreated and Scandinavia was left to its own devices. Over the following centuries, power began to centralise in Himlingia. Apologies to the Danes for the pronunciation, and this was a large trading partner of Rome. From here, Rome gained a steady supply of leather, textiles and feathers. And of course, it wouldn't be trade with Rome without some slaves. So what about the rest of Scandinavia? They knew something was there, but as far as they were concerned, Scandinavia was an island, because they didn't know about this bit. The Romans did, however, know two things about Scandinavia for certain. One, it was very cold there, even colder than it was in Britain, and two, as such, they had no interest in going there. In the centuries following, Rome's frontiers on the Rhine were static, and so the relationship remained that of trade. The fall of Rome in the 5th century did change this relationship though. Whilst the distance of the new capital Constantinople and Scandinavia were great, in the medieval period the Scandinavians had decided to visit others. These Vikings made their way all across Europe, with some heading to Constantinople. And when they arrived, many chose to join the emperor's personal bodyguard, the Varangians, where they made their fortune. And trade between Constantinople and Scandinavia was mostly focused on Sweden. Byzantium received things like fur and amber, and in return Sweden obtained wine, spices and jewellery. Denmark and Norway got basically nothing since their attention was turned westward. That's not to say that they had no contact with Constantinople though. After the fall of England to the Normans, many Danes and Anglo-Saxons fled to the court of the Byzantine emperor to serve in the army there. However, the Byzantines didn't really see them all that different, and people who came from northern Europe were simply referred to as being from Thule, which means just really far away. Demonstrating that whilst Rome knew of Scandinavia for over a millennium, its desire to know it well was non-existent. I hope you enjoyed this episode, with a special thanks to my patrons, James Bizanet, Kelly Moneymaker, Sky Chappelle, Katoitska, Yuduan Wang, Anthony Beckett, YN Hockey, Marcus Arsner, Captain Psydog, Gustav Swan, The McWhopper, Alex Schwinn, Marvin Kassow, Winston Kaywood, Shuenin, Andy McGeehee, AF Firefly, Spinning 3 Plates, Spencer Lightfoot, Kamoon Yoon, Maggie Patskowski, Remco Heusman, Copper Tone, Jim Stroomberg, Calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Charles I, Miss Izette and Words About Books podcast.